Okay, nice to see you here, all of you. And of course, I know that the new normal, which I have chosen as a subject to my today's talk, has become like another buzzword this year. Sorry for that. However, I think that it still reflects quite well the current state of things. So I decided to look in what became new for HR during this year after the COVID outbreak started. And as any business functions, also HR has faced some new aspects that has impacted the way how things normally were done. So let's look into those, and also let's see if all of them are really so new. So my name is Ingrīda Štālberga, and I represent a company called Zalaris. We are quite long in the HR market already, for 20 years. We serve more than 1.5 million employees globally. So we have the knowledge to back up also some of the insights I will provide to you today, including also some of our customer experiences and our own. I promise this will be the only slide with that much text. It's a bit overloaded, and yeah, actually there's some technical issue with that as well. It's strange, it shows well on the slide. But okay, the idea behind this was just to show that how overwhelmed we have been with the information this year. And this is something that HR professionals says themselves. So they have seen that the communication routes have been challenged this year, and that has impacted their ability to get the pulse of the employees, understand how they feel both mentally and physically. They also realized that the remote work has become very crucial this year, and the companies who didn't have any strategy for that before now needed to rush and make new strategies to secure that employees are able to work from home, etc. Many of the HR specialists also agree that they have been suffering from lack of agility, because still in the processes there are too many bottlenecks, too many approvals, so things are not going that quick and that smooth. And also some uncertainty can paralyze all of us. So if we don't have the reliable data to measure, we cannot understand what are the actions we need to perform. But above all of that, I would actually put to care for employees' jobs, which is definitely ours as employers' social responsibility. And especially this year with these difficult circumstances, it became very crucial to secure that your employees are feeling safe, they have the work, and you can make it much more easier and enjoyable for them. So in a nutshell, we are left with these keywords. And according to my observation, this is exactly what have landed on HR's table. I would say that pulse is very right word at the current time, because it defines really the pace of today's work, our life, everything we do. And care, I have intentionally marked in a different color, and I will return back to that. But indeed, I think that if we haven't been focusing so much on that before, now it's the time to do that. So these things are both related to employee experience, the X, and the operational data, the O. And let's imagine that it is our employee, a small person here. So today, what is he or she surrounded with? And yes, there's quite a lot of going on, right? There are some notifications popping up all the time. You need to score something, like something, follow something. The boundaries between your work life and the private life are definitely fading. So the balance is getting more blurry. There are also more increasing proportion of contingent workers appearing. Employees also want different types of payments to be performed, not the normal monthly payroll probably. Of course, the employers need to create probably many more types of work schedules, not the normal 8 hours working day. And this is what the employees are expecting from the employer, to be flexible in that regard. The time that we all spend online, and especially on the mobile phones, you've definitely seen the statistics for this year. They are increasing tremendously. And if the employer, for instance, wants their team to take some quick action on something, And yes, sometimes it happens that we require that outside the normal working day, maybe it's on vacation. So we need to ensure that our employees have the access to it, preferably on the mobile. And it will not become less important, of course. That's only increasing. The pace is getting faster, and we require speed from all the services that we use, whether that's something that we purchase online or that's also our internal services within the company. So also regarding HR, employees are expecting that it's a top-class service across all of their employee lifecycle phases, provided fast, correct, and in an enjoyable way, by the way. People nowadays in most of positions can work from anywhere. But if you're having people within the same team where one, for instance, works in Latvia, another one works in Brazil, still it's very important that they have the same experience. Let's say same learning possibilities, same onboarding practices, so that in the end they feel like really being one common team. So from the employer's side, you need to provide accessibility to the same tools, ensure that the processes are transparent, and being able to align on the goals and priorities on the go. So with that said, the upfront conclusion is that we probably need to reframe the employee experience. And let's play around a bit about it. So before, we have been focusing on, let's say, general productivity and major talent transitions, maybe in some cases just hiring and retiring. We need to focus now on fast diagnosis, response, and immediate actions in all of the employee lifecycle phases. Instead of periodically analyzing data and then thoughtfully adjusting the strategies, we need to do the real-time analysis and make quick decisions. Experiences that have been designed well in advance, thinking that this will work for certain years, suddenly is not valid anymore. And those also need to be designed in real time. And if HR function could have been a one-domain-centric before, focusing on only one function, in many cases that was probably payroll or some dedicated function for recruitment, now it's important to be cross-domain. And this is actually the HR winning aspiration for us to succeed long-term. I will also talk a bit about how one of our customers has played this winning aspiration already. And Zalaris has worked in the last couple of years with one of the leading banks in the Northern European region. And this bank was willing to make their HR services and employee experience to the next level. So what they started with was to look at their current values, what they want their customers to experience. And you can see that that was easy to deal with, relevant, competent, approachable anywhere, anytime, personal and digital, safe and trusted. And then they realized that this is, of course, something that their own employees are expecting too. Why should there be any difference? So they decided to work further on that, focus now on their own people. And they have already for some time built a very good foundation for that, because they had secured a very well-run core HR services. So now it was just about the time to move up and build it to the next level. Over the years of operation, they have realized how many employee lifecycle phases both their managers and HR are involved in. So you can see it's recruiting, onboarding, talent development, rewarding, handling the employment conditions, well-being, changing organization, and in the end saying goodbye, whether that's firing or retirement. And of course, all of these phases involve certain assessments, certain actions. It's quite a lot of efforts being needed in all of those. So in this case, since we have been providing the core HR solution for them, it was a good opportunity to see how we can apply our SuccessFactors modules for the customer needs. Because each of those modules, which we operate with, are independently applicable for all these phases. And actually, it doesn't matter where you start. You can define those priorities yourself. And later, you can just continue to build it further. So also, the customer has not ended yet. Still, next year, they will finish with the last remaining modules. But they have also done one another thing, which is turning their internal HR function into something really game-changing. They have turned it in a very wholesome HR organization, where, as I said, the same way as they approach their customers, they now decided to provide several ways how to communicate with HR. So you have People Portal supported by SAP SuccessFactors. You can approach it either on web or through the mobile phone. You can contact someone in HR directly or through the chatbot. And importantly, all of that is, of course, backed up with relevant data, real time. So same as they measure their customer interactions on mobile, the statistics on views per some certain link, etc., they now did the same. And what their employees really felt is that they are treated very specially, that the employer cares for them, and since they're now having very comprehensive data to analyze, they can, of course, think of necessary improvements in that area. So they see their people services now as being already a huge success. And when we kind of end this step of the journey next year, then let's see what else the customer can improve going forward. But also us at Zalaris, we also have decided to focus on HR more and utilize our own products. And I know it sounds weird, but actually that's pretty common, that a service provider maybe does not utilize all of their provided solutions themselves at some time. So we started last year to implement more of the SuccessFactors modules so that we can see the benefits better ourselves. And I would like to show you some of the statistics that are really based on our own experience and elaborate a bit more on those. So of course, this year there have been also many other things that have impacted the employee engagement. So if they felt happier, that might have been that part of them really felt very happy about the opportunity to work from home, maybe some other things. But on the other side, they also saw that we are doing and investing a lot in providing their HR services really modern in the way they are expecting it in the new world. So what we have seen now is that our response rate in the surveys that we do to measure the employee engagement has increased quite a lot. So it has become more easy to take the surveys, and obviously it is being felt like a normal procedure of the day. And the employee net promoter score, which probably part of you is using, we see a tremendous increase in that by 28 points, which is not that easy to achieve, as we know, as we need to grow the proportion of promoters in the company. When we started with SuccessFactors modules, ensuring much more smooth recruitment, onboarding, and learning processes, we also saw that approximately 80% of our open positions at Zalaris are being referred by someone from our existing employees. And this is definitely something that each employer is willing to achieve, that their own people are becoming ambassadors for the company and are asking others to join in this great team. The average time to hire is now approximately 3 weeks, which is already very good, but in many cases it's even less. So we are able to fill the positions very smoothly, and that does not depend on the fact whether our HR team is working in Riga or has traveled somewhere or is sitting in their countryside. So there are no showstoppers that would hinder this process to being executed. And what's also very positive, which we see, is that when we have the job interviews, and of course not all of the candidates are hired, even those who are rejected for one or another reason, they continue to be those ambassadors because they refer in their network afterwards. We have a candidate coming saying that, yeah, I had a friend who was not hired, but he enjoyed this process so much that he referred me to come to you. So obviously things go in the right direction, which we are truly happy to see. But of course, I wouldn't say that our journey has ended. In fact, that never ends. And therefore, an open question to you would be, has your HR journey started or not? Of course, I hope that the answer is yes. But in case not, probably you will reconsider that, since in 2020, probably you have had some of these questions or inquiries landing on your table. So maybe it was directors or team leaders or employees coming to you and, for instance, asking about how to ensure that our recruitment does not stop, taking into account all the circumstances. Or show me your personal expenses. That is probably a CEO asking HR. Do we have the people with the needed skills? If something happens with some of them, are others able to back up those, substitute those? Do we see that somewhere in our system? Where can we cut costs? Maybe there are some solutions we are not really using that much, but where instead we should invest in? Or have all of our employees actually read the new policies? Maybe since they switched to the remote work, there were new policies applicable. Can we track that? Who are our key talents? And how to ensure that we can increase the salaries for our key talents when we have a limited budget this year? And if you start that journey now, there are a couple of things that I would suggest you to focus on, and that is from our own experience with the customers. So first of all, I would suggest you to look for a scalable solution. So in this case, it might be scalable from the geographical point of view. Maybe your company is going to expand in the nearest future into new countries, but also from the system point of view, will it support new extensions, new solutions that you can build on top? Because sometimes the system is not so flexible, and you will suffer from that in future if you do not check that right away. You can define your own priorities. As I said, it's sometimes it's not set from the service provider point of view. It's you deciding what's most important for you. What we've seen this autumn is that many companies approach us exactly regarding goals and development. Because the new year is starting soon, there will be new goals assigned to the company. So that is the process they want to start first. And then you can continue step after step. You also have the possibility to have a fresh look at your processes, and most probably there are things to improve. Maybe there are unnecessary process steps, unnecessary bureaucracy. Some of our customers have actually just now realized that, oh, it's definitely possible to get rid of the paper job, because if you have the digital workflows and digital approvals, the papers are not necessary anymore. But it was written in our legislation, yes, but you can provide it in a different way. Of course, don't undermine the security aspect, and the system needs to think about it, and the service provider needs to think about it on behalf of you. You shouldn't care about the data retention rules yourself. The data will be kept as long as it's needed and as long as it should be. You also should, of course, listen to especially the youngest generation in your team. They will be the ones defining at least next couple of years. So how they see things and what are their expectations is definitely something to take into account when designing the new processes. Zalaris and I personally, I hope all of you also understand that the mobile needs to go first. That's no doubt. I think we all are pretty much attracted to our mobile phones. That's our daily life. And when you start the project, of course, it's important to assign your best team. Of course, people come and go. You might have changes in that team, but if from the beginning you have the great team asset who are willing to bring this change further in the organization, it will be much easier for you going forward. So if you're thinking that, no, probably we'll look into that in some 5 years, of course you can do that, but probably what can happen is that our employees, instead of enjoying coming to work every day, they will try to survive, through this whole process jungle. Maybe that's not the employee, maybe that's HR specialist, not able to understand how to do these things right, and I just have to survive here for some while. But I bet this is not your case. Since you are here, you're interested how to make things better for you, for your employees. So I wish you good luck with that. Thank you for attention. And you can also meet Zalaris representatives at C9, booth C9. See you there. Thank you.